Good morning, Americans. This is your favorite alien and Bull Moose Bub. Sitting in for Paul Harvey this morning. Stand by for commentary. Well, Americans, if Mr. Paul Harvey was here today, he would do a commentary on something that you don't see very often, but he would have picked it up. I'm talking about the new commercial of Gecko, where they have the gecko in the Rocky Mountains, and he's trying to say that for 75 years, Gecko has lasted as long, is a long lasting as the Rocky Mountains are. And he's trying to compare them. And along comes our favorite guys, Rocky the Flying Squirrel and Bowinkle. And Rocky's his usual flying self. And he's saying that, it's the majestic Rocky Mountains, which are named for, and Mr. Bowinkle says, Rocky the Flying Squirrel, sir! Yeah. And Rocky stops his flying and says, Oh, Bowinkle. And the gecko starts to say something. And he says, and you, before he says that, he says, President George Rockington! It comes out of Bowinkle. And you see the expression on the gecko's face. This doesn't make any sense, Mr. Winkle. Yeah. I like that commercial. But it's the law of unintended consequences here, Americans. Whoever did this is a genius. And this is why. He didn't count on the law of unintended consequences. When he drew this up, he painted Bowinkle a real bright blue. Rocky, a real bright blue. And Bowinkle, a color, Bowinkle's always been that color, but he made it him fader. He made it even worse up, than he was before. So it looks like a faded red and a blue and, old Rockies and the shining blue. And if you look at the gecko, he's sitting there as the American people. And he's confused because Rocky represents the Democrats. Shining blue, we got him this year, yoo-hoo! And he's running all over the place, flying. And he just stops to say, oh, Bowinkle, which means that he's stopping to say, oh, we'll give you some money and then we'll go back to our usual self and we'll see what happens to this COVID-19 situation. And Bowinkle was, with his President George Rockington, and the way he stands up there, you take his antlers and everything about him, he looks like President Trump, don't he? But it's a faded red, so that means that is a faded Republican Party, which is in trouble. And the poor gecko sitting there as the American people like, okay, guys, all we want is clean air here. Go out to our usual selves, whether we want to go to the bar, get ourselves blasted, go see a baseball game, or whatever it is. We want to be outside and have no virus interference. And you guys have done nothing about this. See what I mean, Americans? Look at that commercial and see what it is. Mr. Paul Harvey would have agreed here. What do you say? And nobody's paying attention to this. This is like a commercial back in the early 80s of Coke. Remember? Coke made that just for a simple Coke commercial. And it turned out to hit the whole world. Remember that Coke commercial back in the 1980s there? Ooh, that went big time, didn't it? Now this should hit the American public if you sit down and really watch that commercial with the gecko, Bowinkle, and Rocky. And you'll see what I mean. And you look at Mr. Bowinkle, the way he's looking at there when the commercial's ending, it's like Trump. It is what it is. Sitting in for Mr. Paul Harvey this morning. This is your favorite alien and Boo Moose Bubba. Good day.